Good evening, welcome to Apex Racing TV, welcome to the BSRTC Pro Series. We're another round deeper into the showdown, and we're just actually lining up on the grid currently. My name is Chaz Draycott, alongside me tonight, doing the cameras as well, is Marco Barbanera. We've just finished qualifying, the car's lining up on the grid, and as it stands, the grid looks just like this. You've got Nickel Foggy on pole position alongside Jamie Fluke. Wojciech Savidovic and Alex Simpson make it 3 Apex Racing cars in a row, followed by Ross McFarlane and Dave Baker in that very famous 6th position on the grid. Jack Sedgwick is 7th with Jamie Rushworth 8th, Brian Holmes 9th and Sven Glatzel 10th, Pete Harrod is 11th and Stephen Baxter is 12th. Just behind them on the grid is Michael Hall, Stuart McFadden, Christian Rose and Martin Front in 16th place. Adam Hadfield is 17th, Colin Cunniff 18th, Kip Stevens is 19th and Jake Blackwell is in 20th. He's followed by Mark Woodhouse, Adam McNally, Chris Wood, Russell Laidler, and then it's Rob Graham, William Daniels, Tristan Boddice, Michael Blake, Jack McIntyre, and Max Wright rounds out your top 30. Following them is Josh Thompson, Maciej Sakovic, Paul Smith, Craig Williams, Lee Deemer, and Pete Newman is 36th on the grid. And the last few cars are Ronald Moons, Daniel Brown, Mark Johnston, Scott Malcolm, and Alex Smolensky. George Simmons just saying in the chat as well, there's a slight bit of echo. I'm not quite sure which end that's coming on from. Thanks very much, George. And the lights are out already. Fantastic start there from Foggy. He seems to have just got it hooked up and got it away. Looks like Fluke has lost out a slight bit there. He's got Simpson and Wojciech Savidovic down the inside. And away he goes. Foggy seems to lead through. Looks quite nice and clean in the background, to be fair, so far. Flying up the S's then. There they go. This is a really, really hefty track for slipstreaming. And hopefully we're going to see quite a lot of that over the course of the night. So out then pulls Wojciech Savidovic. Side by side with Nickel Foggy down to the very famous carousel. Doesn't look like we've lost anybody at the moment. Foggy not going too defensive. He knows it's well, it's not the time to get it. Oh, a bit of a slide there from Alex Simpson in 3rd place. The back end on this Kia can step out quite easily, but there's a good few Northern Lights cars near the front, a good couple of Apex cars up there as well. Obviously, we're not going to be biased over the course of the race. Some of the CQR cars trying to find their way forward, but it's Foggy and Savidovic at the moment really going for it as they come into the second to last corner. You want to be careful on that curb on the outside. Into the final corner, then we see Ross McFarlane in a right good scrap with Dave Baker in the number 5 car, and just in front of him is Jamie Fluke, gets slightly out of shape out of the last corner. You can see them filtering through now and down the straight onto the second lap of the race. Brilliant stuff on that first lap. Through the S's for the second time, then Wojciech still leading the way over Foggy. This back straight is absolutely just paramount importance over the course of this race. You can see them just trying to stay in the draft, just to stick with each other as they go down there. Foggy right on the outside of Savidovic now. Onto the brakes they go. He's going to try and hold it round the outside. Just never the favoured line, really. You can get a good run off of it, though, if you get a decent sort of slingshot out of there. He's really trying hard as they come into the second to last corner. Still nothing doing for him, but you can see, I think there was a bit of contact in the background. Mark Woodhouse is flying down the order. That's important in the AM Championship. Not sure what sort of incident he had, but I could see someone around. He's not completely at the back, but there's a couple of cars that are already in the pits. So as we see McIntyre then go back to a replay, here he is, he's on the outside. He just makes a tiny bit of contact. I think that was Stevens, and then he just hits the barrier, and he's very lucky not to get collected by anyone there as he came back across nearly one of his teammates. I think that's Paul Smith catching in with him there, but just about got away with that anyway. Another lap, another time down the straight for these guys up front. Just trying to get it done is Foggy, but you don't want to pull out the slipstream too early, but at the same time you don't want to start pushing him down the straight. It's really easy to unsettle the rear end of this car and spin someone, even in a straight line. Simpson trying to get on this as well now. He's had a slight overlap, and there's Fluke and McFarlane. It's Northern Lights racing cars against Apex cars at the front so far. A lot of blue cars near the front of the field, and that's broken by Dave Baker, who's still in his very seemingly favoured 6th position. But Savidovic and Foggy then side by side into the second to last. Foggy all the way around the outside. Beautiful stuff. Really respectful racing to give each other that much room. Down the inside he goes. Still giving each other plenty of room, and down the straight once again they go. Starting the 4th lap of the race, and it's still Savidovic just by half a car length in front. Brilliant stuff. Foggy dive down the inside on the brakes, then goes for the lead once more. Going to try and avoid the off tracks on the outside. They do that pretty well. Oh, one of the other Apex cars going really wide. You can see the train of CQR cars behind them. Really good battle in the midfield. It looks like there's just no gap whatsoever between half the cars further down. Looking at the timing screen, it's all red. We get little highlighted red numbers when the cars are close together, and there's only one car in the middle. I think it's Rob Graham, who's 2.5 seconds away from anyone. Look at this gaggle. Nearly 3 wide in the middle, but up for the front then is this trio. Savidovic and Simpson working well together to hold off Foggy at the moment. Just watching how wide is Savidovic. Oh, Foggy a little bit on the grass there, I think. Got to be really careful. It's easy to what we call quarter panel each other here. If the front left or the front right catches either of the rear corners, they can quite easily fling them around. Got quite an echo going on by the sounds of it. I can still hear myself speaking back. I've got Savidovic then, just pushing him around, doing like George Simmons has just said as well. Done an entire lap side by side. This is great stuff, and they've even swapped places a number of times on the timing screen. They just keep flicking around, and Foggy finally gets it done and is in front. McFarlane's looking racy, but well, that's Jamie Fluke sideways into turn 1. He's going to lose places there. I think that's Sedgwick got through. Baker behind him now, then Baxter, Holmes, Glatzel, Rushworth, Harrod, Hall, McFadden, Front, Cunniff, Rose, Blackhall, McNally and Laidler. Rounds out your top 20. These guys in an absolutely epic train. This is brilliant stuff to watch. And hopefully they'll keep this up for the whole race. It's quite easy to do so around here because of the slipstream down the straight. I'm sure that we're going to see that all the way through. Side by side then, that's Brian Holmes in the number 12 car, I believe, with Jamie Rushworth trying to go all the way around the outside. A little bit of grass track in there from Jamie. It's not quite working, but up at the front, it looks like it's switched around again. Savidovic ahead of Simpson. I don't think Sutton is racing tonight, actually, George. He's in the States, I think, doing a McLaren event. I think he's at Circuit of the Americas. Oh, on the curb there, that's McFarlane. Sorry, that's Foggy. We're on board with McFarlane. That's Foggy and Simpson then. The numbers 1 and 2 cars for Apex are currently 1 and 2 in the race. Simpson moving over a little bit. Great defensive work by Alex there. Foggy now down in 3rd. Cedric right in this fight as well. Just constantly sticking with each other. Just there's no room for error whatsoever. Even if you're going to make an attack, you've got to look at the car behind you. Streaming up the straight. Once again, they're all going over to the same side of the track to try and keep the slipstream. It's not the easiest thing to do. They go once more then into the second to last corner, all filtering through. You can see there's a big break in the field there. That's Chris Wood. That's about 3.7 seconds behind the car in front. And that's what happens when you lose the slipstream. The whole field just splits up. And oh, down the inside, that was that, yeah, it was the number 50 car. That's Josh Thompson racing for CQR. A bit sideways on the brakes there as he turns it in. I think Josh is actually replacing Ash Sutton tonight. On the subject of Ash not racing. Simpson and Foggy side by side once again out of turn 1. Who's going to get the better run? When you are on the outside, you do get the better run in this usually. Foggy's all over the curbs. They're really giving each other the very minimal amount of room they need, but still no contact. You've got to be so careful as you go up the S's that you don't clip that wall, because it just can really end your race. You just bounce off it and it can cause massive accidents. Look how close Foggy was then. We were pretty much in the splitter at the front of that car. Here they go, they're side by side with the carousel once more. No margin for error, like I said. Look at that, nearly kissing wing mirrors all the way around. Great respectful racing by these guys. It's going to be interesting to see how their body language of their cars change over the course of the evening. Obviously, 2 reverse grids tonight. Marco gets to bust out the reverse grid wheel, which I'm sure he's very excited about. Still side by side, Alex and Foggy. This is just amazing, absolutely amazing that it's not ended in contact yet. But these guys are very seasoned veterans of iRacing. Nickel Foggy, of course, two-time World GT champion. Alex Simpson, Road Pro Series champion as far as I know. Oh, Foggy just turns across him, but he hasn't got an overlap, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Cedric and McFarlane are side-by-side in the background as well. Closely behind them is Fluke and then Baxter, and Glatzel, and Dave Baker dropped down to 9th at the moment, still in the top 10. He's got his teammates Rushworth and Harrod behind him. Great shot there as they come towards us down the S's. You can just see the speed that these Kias get up to. Really pokey engine in the Kia, turbocharged, I think it's a 2-litre engine, 375 brake horsepower roughly. But in a front-wheel drive car, that's a frightening prospect because it goes like stink in a straight line, but then you've got to try and get it stopped. Front wheels are trying to do literally everything in this car. The back end is just being towed around. And speaking of being towed around, look at this queue behind McFarlane. It's just never ending. Simpson back in front of Foggy. Oh, Savidovic, I think, just caught one wheel on the grass there as he turned in. Pivoted the car around. It's going well so far for Northern Lights and for Apex Racing TV. Well, Apex Racing UK, I believe they'll be under actually when it's the racing team. Oh, Cedric and McFarlane right over to the wall. Really feisty stuff by the 15 and 49 cars. Around the outside goes Cedric, keeps some really good momentum there, using all the off sort of what's it called, run off. There you go. Yes, this once again. Halfway through the race already. Feels like we've only been on the track 2 minutes. Of course, 3 races tonight, like I said. Plenty more action to come. Just see the slipstream in there as Cedric gradually closes on him. Pulls out to the left. Not too much of an overspeed though in these cars. Not compared to when we saw the MX-5s around here. You got a massive overspeed from them because you've obviously got longer on the straight to actually get it done. And they might have quite tall rear wings on these cars, but they don't provide a massive amount of downforce. It's really there just to stabilise the rear end. Cedric is down the inside of McFarlane now. He's just poked his nose in. Is he going to get it done? Tries to go late on the brakes, but McFarlane carries so much speed around there. He does a brilliant job of it. And the 2 Northern Lights cars are down the inside of Jamie Fluke. Oh, that's the number 20 car. Just making contact. That's the beauty of a front-wheel drive car. There's more contact down the straight. That's Cedric and that's Stephen Baxter. Don't think Cedric will be too pleased with that. But he's still up there, though. He's not lost that many places. I don't think he's lost any places, actually. He's only still behind McFarlane, to be fair. They're all taking different lines out of turns 1 and 2 as they go up the S's then. There's only really one line through the S's, but when you're in a battle, it really can compromise your run down the straight. Such an important part of the track, especially when you're not doing the entire boot section like these guys aren't tonight. They're on what is known as the classic layout. So you literally go through turns 1 and 2, miss out the bus stop down here, go to the carousel as Simpson makes contact with Savidovic. Savidovic is sideways and Foggy's going to go down the inside. Thank you very much, boys. And I will see you in a bit. Alex will be kicking himself for that. Savidovic will have the red mist now. He'll want to get going and chase Foggy down again. He's not got a massive gap to make up, but that's just, it will really have hurt him that. He wants to get back on the horse here and just chase Foggy down. Alex will act now as a rear tail gunner, to be fair, because McFarlane's not that far behind, but in terms of the slip, I think you probably get about a second and a half, maybe 1.9 seconds down here, but it's 1.2 as they go down the straight. You can see on the bottom right there, what we call the battle box, the gap between each car. That's from Foggy back to Fluke, by the way. Fluke obviously isn't 2.1 seconds behind Cedric. But it shows in live timing though, so you've got it as a constant update. So you can see now, watch the gaps get smaller as they get down the straight. The gap back to Simpson going down, under 2/10 now. And then the guys behind them as well, losing a few hundredths. So the slipstream does stretch back that far, but not much. Savidovic then side by side around the outside of Foggy, really squeezing him to the inside. Alex is trying to follow him around, keep the momentum. Beautiful stuff by Savidovic. Really well. Oh no, Alex and Foggy make contact. I think Foggy just wanted to peel in behind and keep the slipstream. Did a really good job of not getting that in the wall. Alex having to back out of it. You've got to wonder what sort of damage that's done, because these Kias seem to be a bit fragile in certain situations. When we look back from Foggy now, yeah, he's running wide a little bit there. You've got to think that might be a bit of understeer from damage he might have sustained, although you would have thought actually the damage would be on the back end of Foggy's car. We look back then from Savidovic into turn 1. And this is getting feistier and feistier as the race goes on. Still no giving up behind them either between McFarlane and Cedric, side by side as they go up the hill. I'll lock out of how many times they've done this then. McFarlane on the inside, but that's going to become the outside. Cedric now on the inside. He's got a really good run actually, Cedric, and he's taking with him Jamie Fluke there. Jamie's surely going to have to pull out on the left. There he goes. Up in front, Savidovic going defensive as well. Foggy going to the outside. It just looks so smooth turning into there, but I bet in the cockpit it's just a squeal of understeer because this car is not the most potent of things to turn in. And here's the onboard then from Alex Simpson. On the brakes then into the second to last corner. You'll see this big curb on the outside on the right. In most cars you've got to be really careful over that, especially in rear wheel drive cars like the MX-5 that we saw racing here, not this Tuesday gone, but last Tuesday. But in the Kia, you can usually get away with it being front-wheel drive. Nearly 15 minutes complete then. Just over 5 minutes of the race to go. Savidovic is on the inside, but Foggy's trying to go around the outside and get it done. He's kept the momentum. He's not going to get an off-track for running wide there, because he didn't clip the grass. You can use as much of that tarmac as you want. As long as you don't touch the grass, you should be alright. Foggy taking all of the curb on the inside, making sure Savidovic has got the room, but now he's going to help Alex out. Foggy can't pull in behind Savidovic. Oh, it sounded like contact in the background. Not sure whether someone just ran into the back of the car in front to push him down the straight. Foggy's got little options here. He turns in. Oh, Simpson runs a bit wide. There could have been contact, but Foggy slots in beautifully. There is a bit of contact. Foggy gets a bit of a wobble on. And Cedric closing in on these guys as well. George Simmons has just literally read my mind. As down the inside goes Foggy on Savidovic. Using all the curve. Look how close Foggy gets. He knows exactly how long this car is. Really sliding around all over the front and rear bumpers of Savidovic and Simpson. Alex trying to get the run now, but yeah, Cedric is definitely coming into this. I don't think he's bringing much of that train with him, to be fair, though, because he's got half a second, well, nearly a second on Jamie Fluke behind. He's got 7/10 almost between the two of them. And Cedric well and truly in this battle now. You've got to think whether they can bring Jamie Fluke into it and really try and spoil the party with just under 4 minutes to go. Lap time so far about 1 minute 11, 1 minute 12. Pretty much everyone in the field doing 1 minute 12s as it stands. I think the only reason that it'll be slower than that is if they're having a battle. Well, this is the beauty of tracks like this. The field really isn't spreading out at all. So you get feisty racing all the way through. Simpson round the outside of Foggy. Then you can just see the amount of room they're giving each other. Look how close they are. Great shot as we go around the carousel. Oh, they're so close on the exit. Nearly making contact once again. But Simpson now second place. Wojciech and Alex will be communicating constantly throughout this race. Trying to avoid making contact and trying to work, well, what's best for them two, really. So they can work together, not hold each other up if they're going to be doing any manoeuvres. Try and give each other the slipstream. But Cedric now, 4th place. And you don't need a genius to tell you that he is well and truly in this fight now. Into turn 1 they go. Cedric takes a wide entrance, so he clips the apex. And he gets a good run. He's got a tiny overlap on Foggy, or has he? Nope, clearly not. Foggy brave enough to turn across. Go up the S's. You can hear the car wheel spinning slightly as you change direction. The weight transfer really not helping it gain speed up the straight. And here we go once again. Savidovic on the inside. The favoured line, of course, around the carousel. Simpson on the outside. Foggy in 3rd. Cedric 4th. Cedric tries to get a wide entrance once again, but it just doesn't work for him because the other guys are just parked on the apex, so he's not going to be able to get the momentum that he wants. This is just a train now. They're all joined together. Cedric, I think, is on the inside of Foggy. I think he's got it overlapped. He has done. He's down the inside, going for a podium spot then. Oh, somehow there's not contact between them still. Foggy's driving an absolute masterclass at the moment in avoiding contact. He's had a little bit of a bump and barge, but in terms of the amount of times that he could have had contact that he hasn't, he's done a great job. Just over 1.5 minutes left. This race has flown by already. And this has become one really long train now. Is it going to get desperate? Is anyone going to make a feisty move? A bit over feisty, let's say. Down the straight once again. Simpson a little bit wide up the S's. Not quite getting the run that he wants. Foggy then on the left, really close to making contact once again. If he carries it on, he's going to rub the Leo Bodnar logo off the back of that Kia. Look at the speed there, though. Round the outside of Simpson, but he's too deep there, really too deep. He wants to get it turned in, but Cedric's going to get third place by the look of it. He's going to keep the momentum. Nearly door banging Foggy on the grass. Oh, that's Rushworth on the grass in the background as well. You can tell by the purple highlights on that CQR car. There's another CQR car in the background off as well. I think that was McFadden in 16th place. But this has been an epic battle for the lead. Svidovic into the final corner then. One more lap to go. Down the straight they go. It's the 1 and 2 cars in positions 1 and 2. Then it's 9, 49, 106 and 15. And Cedric in the 49 down the inside of Foggy. Somehow doesn't make contact. Oh, that was really close to making contact as they cut back across. He came on the track. Fluke is in 5th now thinking, go on boys, let's just have a bit of a bump and barge and open the door for me. He'll be hoping that for his teammates. See if he can get an apex 1, 2, 3. George Simmons crossing his fingers and praying. I think a lot of the guys behind this will be doing the same. Side by side then, Simpson and Svidovic. Two teammates, of course, get it turned in at the right time. But I don't think that's going to have helped Alex, actually, because Foggy's right there as well. Although we've seen that the outside line isn't always that bad around here. He's got the momentum. He's going to be on the inside for this corner. Svidovic giving him the slipstream. But then, of course, he's going to be on the outside for the last corner of the race. But he's going to have the momentum. Let's see how this goes. No contact between Foggy and Simpson still. All over the curb. Oh, maybe a bit of a door bang there, but nothing major. Svidovic turns it in. He's in the lead. Alex is pushing him, literally pushing him around the last corner. It's going to be Wojciech Svidovic takes you win in the first race tonight from Simpson. Cedric, I think, got third as well. He did. He beat Foggy to the line. Fluke 5th. McFarlane 6th. Baxter 7th and Glatzel 8th. Dave Baker finishes 9th with Rushworth in 10th. Nickel Foggy there, very frustrated, clearly. But what a race. I mean, I'm going to have to take a minute after this to catch my breath, but that was fantastic. Absolutely breathless. Surface. Oh, that's the 21. I think that's Pete Harrod there. Lee Deemer across the line. Hadfield in front. Sorry, it's Newman. Pete Newman. I'm used to seeing Pete Harrod wearing the 21 in this series. He's in the number 6 car. I think he's actually, well, he's one of 2 cars that finished where they started. Pete Harrod started 11th, finished 11th, and Tristan Bodis started and finished 27th. But there's your race winner then. Number 1, position 1, Wojciech Svidovic. Brilliant bit of racing there by Wojciech. It was just nice and, well, just nice and close, wasn't it? Very, very well behaved racing, to be fair. And that's the sort of respect that we want to see on a regular basis as well. There can be the odd manoeuvre that you see and think, that shouldn't really have happened. You didn't have to get to that point. But Wojciech always controlled in his driving style and, yeah, pulled off the win. So there you go. Wojciech Svidovic, Alex Simpson and Jack Cedric, a 1, 2, 3 for the Apex Racing team. Nickel Foggy in 4th. Jamie Fluke makes it 4 Apex cars on the top. Ross McFarlane in 6th place. Stephen Baxter in 7th and Sven Glatzel in 8th. That's 4 Northern Lights cars and 4 Apex cars in the top 8. And then 3 CQR cars. Dave Baker, Jamie Rushworth and Pete Harrod. Colin Cunniff in 12th place with his teammate Martin Front behind him. And then Russell Laidler wins the AM race. He is the highest placed AM driver in that one. Stuart McFadden finishes 15th ahead of teammate Michael Hall. And Brian Holmes is 17th with Adam McNally 2nd in the AM race in 18th overall. Jake Blackhall finishes in 19th place with Josh Thompson rounding out your top 20 for CQR. You've then got Jack McIntyre in the number 33 car. And then a sea of AM drivers. You've got, Chris Wood in 22nd. Dan Brown 23rd. Michael Blake 24th. Max Wright 25th. Mark Johnston is 26th with Tristan Bodis in 27th. And Rob Graham 28th with Scott Malcolm 29th for also McNock Hill. Ronald Moons rounds out your top 30. He has 2 of his teammates, as we saw, coming across the line there then. Adam Hadfield and Lee Deemer in 31st and 32nd, respectively, with Pete Newman 33rd and his teammate Christian Rose 34th. Teammates Magic Sakovic and Paul Smith, 2 laps down and 7 laps down, respectively. Real unfortunate for them. Mark Woodhouse 37th, another Team Mad car down there as well. It's not gone too well for those boys in race 1. And then it's Kip Stevens in 38th, William Daniels 39th, Craig Williams, I know he's streaming tonight as well, so I don't think that's gone too well for him. And Alex Smolensky, I think, actually disconnected before the first race. So absolutely excellent racing up front. Dave Baker and Alex Simpson have said they absolutely love that one. But we're hoping for 2 more races that are just as good as that, and I'm pretty sure Marco's going to be excited any second because he gets to bust out the reverse grid wheel for the first time this evening, Marco, don't you?
Absolutely. And the wheel should be hopefully on your screen right now, so let's roll it. And we have a 25 car reverse. And so this means, if I am not mistaken, that in pole position we will have Max Wright with Michael Blake in second for the second race of the night.
It's very true indeed. They'll be followed by Dan Brown, Chris Wood and Jack McIntyre rounding out the top 5, which will put the likes of Wojciech Svidovic, of course, and Alex Simpson 25th, 24th on the grid. So those boys, if they want to get some more decent results tonight in terms of position, then yeah, they'll have to be fighting back through. Should be exciting to watch, especially after that one, with some of the quicker guys coming through from the midfield. So myself and Marco will join you again in about 10 to 15 minutes when the second race gets back on your screens. Don't go away.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together, just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free, both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website. Before you can get on track, you'll need to calibrate your wheel and pedal set. You'll need to do this in iRacing even if you have already done this using your own controller software. Prior to entering the sim, make sure you've downloaded and installed the latest drivers from the manufacturer's website. Once that's done, follow these easy steps to calibrate your controller. We recommend calibrating in a test session, so pick a car and then click test. Don't go into a practice or official session. The last thing you want to do is have you go on track and crash into another car. Once you're in your test session, click on the options button. You will then see input calibration. This is where your calibration takes place. Start by clicking on the steering button. You will then be prompted to turn your wheel fully one direction and then another. Make sure you place your wheel back into its centering position before hitting done. Now, you'll be asked to turn your wheel 90 degrees to the left. Make sure it's at 90 and hold it there while hitting done. For pedals, click on the pedals button. Here you'll be asked to press the throttle all the way down and then release it. You'll do the same for the brake and clutch pedal if you have one. For the gearbox, you'll first be asked to set buttons for sequential shifting. Once complete, a prompt will ask if you have a H pattern shifter. If not, hit no. If yes, click it and you'll begin to map the gears individually. Once you've completed these steps, you are calibrated and ready to go racing.
As a sales manager, and now I'm official McLaren F1 simulator test driver.
So there's 1.4 behind.
This opportunity is huge.
That's faster than the factory McLaren driver, and he's done 6 laps.
Let's go race.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Assist to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Ray Alfala into the outside wall.
He's going to pass nearly 3 cars down that front straightaway, and he's going to get them all done with. What amazing.
Lee to the inside goes Logan Clapman is going to touch in. Pit press sideways. What a save.
Look to the outside as Trunkgate goes off. De Jong into second place.
I'm going for the switchback. Oh, pinpoint driving.
It's howling down to the inside.
Trying this contact though.
Slide left to the racetrack. Chris Renner drives it back down underneath, and he takes that second spot right back. Joker goes to Garrett Lowe.
Garrett Lowe should take victory with all that contact.
He's going to try and make the move around the outside the Paravolca. That's not going to work, but he's going to try and get the cut back here. Get the run out the Paravolca. That's beautifully done there. Michael Schubert, there's a little bit of door banging as well.
My name is Stephen Corpenos. I'm a senior web developer here at iRacing, and I work on the beta UI. It's funny because iRacing has been around for 10 years, but we want to keep delivering the best possible user experience.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV. Welcome back to the BSRTC Pro Series. Chaz Draycott and Marco Barbanero with you. We're at the beautiful Watkins Glen International for the second race of the night. We saw a brilliant race in race 1. Lots of slipstreaming, lots of overtaking, tiny bits of contact, and not many incidents actually. We were expecting this one to be a very frantic race evening, and the first one showed that it's not quite the case, and the racing was absolutely second to none. As you can see, it's not too hot for this second race of the evening. It's going to be quite overcast, and this track layout is a very simple layout of the beautiful Watkins Glen circuit. No wind for this one either, so there's nothing affecting that really big slipstream that these cars can get down the straight. As I was saying in race 1, the Kia is a very, very fast car on a straight line, nearly 400 brake horsepower. And to be fair, with the front wheels pulling it along, I've seen speeds of nearly 170 mile an hour at Monza. So it doesn't hang about for what is pretty much a family 5-door saloon. As we see Jack McIntyre at the moment. These guys just doing the quick warm-up session before the race begins, before everyone gets on the grid. Just getting used to the current track conditions. They only obviously get a couple of minutes to do so. And you've just got to make the most of every single lap you can get. Just get the car around as quickly as possible. And just see where your limits are, really. See how quickly you can get the laps under your belt. The lap times on the left at the moment there. Similar lap times to what we were actually getting in race 1, to be fair. Sven Glatzel fastest at the moment with a 1 minute 11.5. We were pretty much seeing 1 minute 12s all the way through the race, but you can see there between Baker, Cunniff and McIntyre, there was only 0.02 of a second between each one of them. So with there being a shorter lap and so much of it just being full throttle on a straight, it's amazing how quick and how close together these lap times tend to be. It's amazing, amazing stuff. Hoping for more of the same in this second race then. Just got a few minutes to go, or maybe not even that long, before, of course, they get onto the grid. So a great win for Wojciech Svidovic, sorry, in race 1. Teammate Alex Simpson finishing second. Sedgwick put in a brilliant drive to actually follow them for most of the race, and then actually bring it home in third across the line, just beating Nickel Foggy. And right now then, we go down to the grid for the second race of the evening. And it's Max Wright on pole position from Michael Blake, Daniel Brown and Chris Wood. So it's 4 AM drivers near the front of the field. We've then got Jack McIntyre, who we just saw out on track, Josh Thompson for CQR, and Jake Blackhall for CQR Academy. Adam McNally is the next AM driver, with Brian Holmes and Michael Hall rounding out the top 10. Stuart McFadden and Russell Laidler for CQR Academy are 11th and 12th. Martin Front 13th, Colin Cunniff 14th, Pete Harrod 15th, with Jamie Rushworth 16th and David Baker in 17th for the 3 CQR cars in a row. They've got Northern Lights racing cars either side of them, with Sven Glatzel and Stephen Baxter 18th and 19th, with Ross McFarlane rounding out your top 20. Following them is Jamie Fluke, Nickel Foggy, Jack Sedgwick, Alex Simpson and Wojciech Svidovic, who were all battling for that win in race 1. Mark Johnston is 26th with Tristan Boddice, Rob Graham, Scott Malcolm, Ronald Moons, Adam Hadfield, Lee Deemer, Pete Newman, Christian Rose, Magic Sakovic and Paul Smith, Mark Woodhouse, Ellis Stevens, William Daniels and Craig Williams lines up the grid, and the lights are out and they're away. The plumes of smoke either side of the track as everyone gets a good bit of wheel spin, but it looks like Max Wright's got a really good start at the moment. Blake is getting a little bit swamped there. He's got Dan Brown on his inside. Lots of sliding around from the rear end in these cars as they go through turn 1. Cold rear tyres, of course. It's easy to light up the fronts and the warm them up. Oh, someone flying off in the background there. Really going wide, not quite sure who that was. But as they go up the S's then, it looks like Max Wright's got a really, really good lead at the moment. Doing a fine job off the line. Running away with it. No one's going to be stopping him at this point. But look at them all spreading out there. Got to be really careful as they go. Oh no, someone's been turned across. Hopefully they don't come back across onto the track. They get caught by another car there. It's Brian Holmes. Oh, real shame for Brian. Not quite sure who he got in contact with, but it just doesn't need to happen down the straights like that. And oh, Michael Hall had damage there as well. I think Michael might have been the car that caught him. Admittedly, I've had to just update the paints on my screen. So most of these cars are actually shown in white for me at the moment, if you must know. Michael Blake then into the final corner, trying to chase down Max Wright. Michael shown that he's quick in this car. He just often gets into little scenarios where he's not got the best of luck. The old filter back through into turn 1. Chris Wood there and Jack McIntyre. They're battling for 5th and 6th positions. Long train forming behind them now, as is the nature of this circuit. Look at them filtering through the S's. It's a great sight to see. This Kia's been around on iRacing for a long time, and it still serves as a great race car for these series. Everyone in this has learnt this car a lot over the time that they've been driving it. Into the carousel for one more time then. Wood with McIntyre still chasing him down. Team Mad against Youth Energy. Sorry, actually, he's racing for Northern Lights Scuderia Haggis in one of the Youth Energy liveries. There's Dan Brown then in third at the moment. They're trying to follow Michael Blake, into the back of Max Wright. Josh Thompson, 4th place there. You've got to think Josh is going to be one of the favourites to win this race. Josh has always been quick. And oh, Alex Simpson going a little bit slowly there, it seems. He's got a good run on Baker, though, to be fair. Not sure whether they just had a bit of a coming together before they got to the last corner. They're side by side down the straight. And sorry, it's Pete Harrod. I'm so used to having Dave Baker in my head with the number 6, but he's actually the number 5 CQR car. I apologise. And with them as well was Tristan Bottis, the number 58 car. Further down the order, the Jamie Fluke having issues. Looks like the rear end of that car is a bit battered. Let's have a look what happened. Isn't there one of the Northern Lights cars? Oh no, that's the number 20 car. And I believe... Oh, actually, sorry. Oh, we can hear someone sliding around. Someone's getting a right move on there. Down the order goes Martin Front. And he's lost a number of places. And Cedric as well. Oh, really, really pushing each other around. That was one of the CQR cars that was off with them. Oh, there's more sliding. I can hear just the tyres screaming. It was Stephen Baxter, sorry, the number 20 car. I thought it was, I just didn't want to get it wrong. He was involved before. Still no real spread in the field. You've got this first few, then there's only a couple of seconds back. It's the top 10, and then behind them it's Sven Glatzel in 11th. Oh, look at them all going out wide. That's Thompson really making the most of it. And the lead, of course, has changed. Max right now down to 3rd. Michael Blake has got ahead of him somewhere. Josh Thompson gets rid of the overlap, and now behind Max is Chris Wood, and Jack McIntyre is going for it as well. Jack put in a fantastic display of car control on Tuesday night in the MX-5, who drifted an entire lap of the Donington Grand Prix circuit. If you've not seen that, I'm sure Alex Simpson would agree that you'd have to go and have a look at it. So many different lines around the carousel. It's great to see them all trying to make the most of every little bit of track that they've got. But oh no, there's a car around. That's one of the Northern Lights cars. That's number 39. That's Dan Brown. He's kept it in the wall. He's done a really good job of getting it out of the way there. Hats off to Dan. That was brilliant stuff to stop it from bouncing back across the circuit. You can see some of the Team Mad cars further down. There's one of them that's near the front though, Chris Wood, and the number 38 car. Trying to get past Max Wright. McIntyre's involved in that as well, but Josh Thompson running away to go after Michael Blake. As we look back from Max Wright then at Chris Wood and McIntyre. They're both in the positions they started in. Chris Wood, of course, with the green highlights on his car. All the Team Mad cars have different highlights. Paul Smith's got a light pinky colour. Mark Woodhouse has got white, and I believe Maciej Sakovic has got a light blue. Oh, Chris Wood, I think, making slight contact with the wall there, actually. There's no visible damage on the car. I think he may have just clipped it. Thompson looking racy as ever, chasing down Michael Blake. A little bit later on the brakes, nearly turning left into the carousel there. That's just how loose the rear end is on this car. You've got to have it so oversteery at the front just to try and get at least a bit of turning. But oh, a bit of contact there between one of the CQR cars. Jamie Rushworth's involved in this as well. It's Jake Blackwell in the number 11 with the red highlights on it. Side by side between Wright and Rushworth. Rushworth hanging it around the outside. Look at them all, 2 by 2, constantly behind. The number 16 car is there as well. That's Colin Cunniff, distinguishable by the roof on that car. And there's Sven Glatzel with the German flag on the roof. In another Northern Lights car, Adam McNally's in the thick of this as well. These are all in the same stable, of course, as well, the Northern Lights cars. Oh, there's contact between Glatzel and Cunniff. Glatzel's way off to the left. Baker's getting involved as well. Cedric's in there. He put in a great performance in that first race. And you can see Savidovic just tagging onto the back of this as well. He's in there with Stuart McFadden. But up at the front, it's Thompson, and he's got a really good run on Michael Blake. You've got to think that he's going to get this done, but he's going to be on the outside, so Michael's going to try and make the most of all the momentum that he can. Take it all the way around. He just plays it nice and safe. He's going to be going for championship points at this stage, is Michael Blake. Going to be thinking about what he can do in the AM Championship. Of course, we are in the Showdown part of the season. Over the course of the normal season, these guys get points dependent on podium positions and essentially get entered into a Showdown event towards the end of the year, where all the points are zeroed. You get a couple of extras here and there dependent on your finishing positions over the course of the year. and then it's down to the wire in the last few races. Oh, Rushworth clipping the outside wall there as McIntyre gets a really good cutback on him out of the final corner. Side by side down the straight, McIntyre's on the inside. Doesn't do it though, he's earlier on the brakes, although I say that. Yeah, the overlap's gone. Rushworth is ahead. A little bit wider though, so I'm sure that McIntyre's just going to be trying to get the slipstream, but he's going to be too close to get that much of a run-up. It's just ahead. Michael Blake feeling the pressure right now from Chris Wood and Jake Blackhall. Chris doesn't hit the wall that time round. Thompson's starting to get away though. It's looking good for the CQR driver. You can see 3 of the Northern Lights cars in the background there. That's Cunniff, Glatzel and Stephen Baxter fighting away. But Chris Wood now in the sandwich as it stands, trying to get past Michael Blake, but trying not to lose a position to Jake Blackhall. Good to see Jake up there as well. We know that he's had a couple of issues over the season in terms of his internet speed. He is in Australia, of course, so compared to most of these guys in the UK and Western Europe, his sort of internet delay, let's say, the latency has been a bit of an issue in certain cases, causing incidents when the cars weren't really touching and so on, but no fault of his own, of course. Oh, speaking of cars getting incidents, that's the number 54 car, Adam McNally, straight into the wall. And he takes it back to the pits. Real shame for Adam McNally there. Not quite sure what happened, whether he might have got turned by a car that was on the outside, because the left-hand side didn't hit the wall. It was the right-hand side of that went in. So here we are on the carousel. Oh, we had contact there as well from Baker. Let's see just what happened. He's on the brakes. As they turn in. Oh, yeah, Baker just catches the rear corner. Not sure whether it was down to McNally running wide or Baker turning it too much, but it's not often that you see Dave get into contact. Oh, there's a big accident in the background. That's one of the Auto McNock Hill cars, I think, has gone over. Jack Sedgwick's in there as well. Oh, there's a good few cars in there. Russell Laidler involved, Max Wright. Not sure what happened there, but just saw the end of it down the other end of the straight, but that's a big, big hit. One of them was over. And it's Chris Wood up into second now. He has got past Michael Blake in in the meantime, all of the chaos has been going on. But that's big for Russell Laidler. He won the AM race in the first race of the evening. That's big for his championship as well. I think Max Wright's also in the showdown for that. Real shame for those guys to be missing out. But it's so dangerous going up the S's once these cars get away from you. Oh, Sedgwick's in his own incident, it seems. Not sure whether... Oh, there's Laidler and there's Max Wright as well, yeah. Looks like Sedgwick was in his own accident there. The number 58 car stopped by the side of the track. Really sensible driving there. Nice and safe. You don't always see that. Tristan Bodis that was, just getting out of the way. Down towards the carousel once more for Josh Thompson. Starting to look easier and easier for him. But it's never easy to win a race against Chris Wood. Chris is quick in a lot of cars. He did really well in the World GT Championship, which of course returns in January. Blackhall running a little bit wide. Michael Blake's doing an outstanding job at the moment though. Still in third position, side by side here between Savidovic and Cunniff. As they come into the second to last corner, just ahead of them is Nickel Foggy. These guys have gained about 15, 14 and 13 places respectively. Obviously starting from around 24th to 25th on the grid. Alex Simpson in there as well. Stuck to his teammate Wojciech Savidovic. Cunniff just about not getting caught out by contact there as they go down the straight once more. Turning into turn one. It's a very difficult corner actually, is turn one. As you turn in, there's a lot of camber, but as you're on the exit, it sort of flattens out. So in a front-wheel drive car like this, you can just feel the understeer as it gradually smoothens out. And Michael Blake is right on the back of Chris Wood here. You can see on the right, little battle box in the bottom corner as the gap comes down. And Michael Blake with the overspeed. He's lost a bit of time there. But Wood down the inside, sorry, Wood on the outside. Blake has got it done. A little bit of a cutback though, great stuff by Chris Wood. There's not much of an overlap, if any. I think Chris might be a little bit later on the brakes. Down the inside in the background, that's McIntyre on Rushworth for fourth place. Great move by Jack McIntyre. They're still side by side into the last corner though. Rushworth giving it everything. Previous champion of the BSRTC, of course. Oh no, and he's caught him just like McNally and Baker earlier. They try and get out of the way as best they can. The field do a great job of avoiding him. But it's so easy to do that. It's just catch the corner, and then it's speared them both off into the wall that time. Real shame to see. Back at the front, Blake and Woods still going for it. These guys basically battling for the AM win in this race. So yeah, McIntyre pulls the car over. Real shame to see that happen. But this is the battle for the AM win. The next AM driver is actually Adam Hadfield, who we caught a quick glimpse of them. He's down in 15th place. So these guys want the glory. A lot of green and yellow on these cars respectively. Wood down the inside into the carousel then. We're on lap 11. And there's Foggy, 6th place at the moment. Still in with a shout, getting a lot of points in this one. So Savidovic, and then they've got Cunniff and Glatzel. Alex Simpson is ahead of Savidovic in this one. Stephen Baxter on a charge also. He's been great this season as Stephen Baxter. I'm sure he wouldn't mind us saying that. Quite a sort of surprise performance. No one expected him to have the season he's had, but he's done an absolutely sterling job. Someone that's doing a sterling job at the moment is Josh Thompson, leading the way. As it gets really close between Blake and Wood. Thompson way off there, running nice and wide, getting an off track, but he keeps the momentum either way. And Blake is not leaving Chris Wood alone. I don't live too far from Chris. I can probably hear him shouting from here if I opened a window. Just saying, leave me alone, man. Just let me get on with it. But constantly, that Simortal car just closing and closing on the back of Chris Wood. He's going to go down the inside into the carousel. Nice and respectful driving, though, as we saw in race 1. There's been a couple of little incidents, but it's nothing that's been too sort of dangerous or rash. As Blake, a little bit of grass there on the exit of the carousel. That's going to hurt his run. Any little bit of grass that makes this this car understeer and wheel spin more than it naturally does is not good for your lap times. Blake now having to defend from Wood, trying to go around the outside. He's trying to get a cutback. Seems to have got a nice run out the final corner, but right behind him is Steve Baxter and Jake Blackwell now. Nickel Foggy not too far behind. Blake goes to the inside. Wood goes to the outside. All the while, Josh Thompson's going to be watching in his mirror laughing. But Blake's still in front. Great stuff by Michael Blake in this race. Baxter's going to really put Wood under pressure now. 4 cars here, almost 5 with Foggy involved from very different teams. All very successful teams over the span of iRacing's many series, especially in BSR as well. Got Michael Blake for Simortal, Stephen Baxter for Northern Lights Racing, Chris Wood for Team Mad, and Jake Blackwell for CQR. Nickel Foggy also racing for Northern Lights, but it's with he's in one of the EV racer liveries. I don't know how Baxter slotted in between those two then, but he's managed to get that Kia in a shape, a hole that wasn't Kia sized. Up to 3rd he goes. Blake on the inside now. Baxter trying to carry the momentum around the outside. That's going to put him on the inside for the final corner. Uses all that curb. Brilliant by Steve Baxter. Awesome stuff. And look at that. He gained a really, really good gap on them already. At least a car length. And now Michael Blake's got it all to do again. He just needs to carry on defending from Chris Wood. 4 minutes to go in this race. Thompson did a 1:13.2 that time round. To be fair, quite a lot of these lap times are into the 1:13s now. But this is brilliant stuff once again. Really close racing provided by Watkins Glen. It's always been a favourite of mine. I'm sure a lot of these drivers will say the same, that it's such a fun track to drive on. It's not too pressurising to get a lap right. As we go on board with Nickel Foggy, then you can see Blackwell and Wood weaving around a little bit, just trying to get the best out of the slipstream that they can. You'll probably see Foggy get on the brakes early here. Probably nothing going for him, although he's down the inside of Blackwell. I eat my words. Foggy, brilliant stuff on the brakes. Hugs that curb on the inside to make sure Blackwell doesn't get anything back, but Jake's going to try and get the run. Thompson's gap is slowly reducing though to Steve Baxter. Foggy defending from Blackwell now. At the same time, he's attacking Chris Wood. Side by side, through the seconds last. Chris Wood's got the inside line, but Foggy's going to have the momentum around the outside, and he's going to get that done, surely. Awesome driving by Nickel Foggy there. 2 places within 3 corners. I'm sure he'll be happy with that. Up to 4th place, that's where he finished in race 1. And Thompson is now going to come under increasing pressure from Stephen Baxter. You've got to put your money on it. They've got a small gap to the cars behind, of course, but that can easily disappear. Field a little bit more spread out in this race compared to the last one, though. Not too much in the way of sort of close trains of cars filling the entire field. There are still some very good battles going on there. You can see them just filtering bit by bit down the straight. On the outside then, Stephen Baxter already putting Thompson under pressure. Thompson's going to want this race to end sooner rather than later, but look at the momentum Baxter's got. Really classy driving around the outside there to keep the speed up, and I think, yeah, he's already in front. Fantastic by Stephen Baxter. So in a matter of laps, he's gone from 5th and 4th to go into the lead. As in the background, there's a CQR car trying to get down the inside of a Northern Lights car. Foggy up to 3rd now ahead of Michael Blake. But it's still between himself and Chris Wood for the AM lead. Surely it's going to be this, and then one more lap after that. Stephen Baxter then leading it from Thompson, Foggy, Blake, Wood, Blackhall, Simpson and Svidovic into the top 10, with Cunniff and Glatzel rounding out the top 10. Biggest mover in the field so far is Nickel Foggy, 19 places gained. Stephen Baxter's gained 18, so he started 19th on the grid and he's in the race lead. That's just an absolutely fantastic drive. Simpson and Svidovic have got 17 each. Adam Hadfield's got 16. Maciej Sakovic got 16 also. Kip Stevens and William Daniels and Mark Wood has also got 17. So a lot of big movers. There's been a lot of cars out of this race so far. People that aren't still running are the likes of Lee Deemer, Jack McIntyre, Jamie Rushworth, Russell Laidler, Max Wright, Jack Sedgwick, Tristan Bodis, Adam McNally, Jamie Fluke, Dan Brown, Brian Holmes and Michael Hall. So a very comprehensive list of drivers not going. Oh, down the inside, Foggy nearly making contact with Josh Thompson there. These two, of course, battled each other all season for the World GT Championship, as we see Simpson and Svidovic trying to attack Chris Wood and Michael Blake out the last corner. Chris Wood's car, a little bit of damage on the rear end. Not sure whether he's had contact more recently or whether I just didn't notice it earlier. But Foggy is going at Josh Thompson now. These two in the same car, so it's a bit more of an even battle than it was in the World GT Championship, where Josh was in a BMW and Nickel was in a Mercedes. If you haven't seen the broadcast for the final round of the championship from the Nürburgring, you need to watch what Josh Thompson did in the first race, but there you go. Foggy is through, and now he's going to chase down Stephen Baxter to try and get the win that surely he should have had in race 1, but he's only got one more lap to do it, and the gap is only 0.3 of a second. You can see it coming down in the bottom right of your screen. Svidovic has overtaken Blake and Wood in the background. Alex Simpson's going to be trying to follow him through as well. Simpson does get ahead of Wood. You can just see it changing on the little timing tower on the left there. A couple of positions change. Blackhall also going past Wood there. But this is the battle that matters the most at the moment then. Stephen Baxter coming on to the final lap. Oh, actually, this is going to be the final lap. The race is going to be over here then. It's going to be Stephen Baxter to take it from Foggy then. Fantastic. Josh Thompson 3rd with Wojciech Svidovic 4th. Michael Blake, brilliant finish in 5th place. He wins the AM race for that one. Jake Blackhall 6th with Simpson 7th and Chris Wood 8th. Looking further down the order, this is Mark Woodhouse and Kip Stevens side by side out the last corner. Who's going to get this one then? Looks like, yeah, Woodhouse has got it. He carried the momentum nicely around the outside there. Kip going quite a bit slower over the line. Ronald Moons with Williams and Malcolm either side of him. Johnston and Newman behind that. Newman just coming over the line now. There he is. There's your race winner then, Stephen Baxter. Got a little bit ahead of myself there with the final lap, thinking there was one more to go. But I'm sure Stephen will be happy that that came when it did. Nickel Foggy, really good drive as well, of course. 20 places gained. Those two really the class of the field in that one. And it was just a very controlled drive by Baxter. He just made the moves at the right time when he had to do it. And he didn't put too much pressure on anybody to just sort of cause an incident. And he didn't put too much pressure on himself either, which is one of the main things. You've really got to be able to keep your head in races like this. So Nickel Foggy finishes 2nd then, only 0.2 of a second in it, with Josh Thompson 3rd, Wojciech Svidovic 4th. And like I said, Michael Blake winning the AM race in that one. Chris Wood is 8th with Adam Hadfield 15th, so they are the top 3 in the AM category. Blackhall finished 6th overall with Simpson in 7th. Chris Wood, like I say, in 8th. Colin Cunniff 9th and Sven Glatzel in 10th. Dave Baker finishing 11th with Stuart McFadden, his teammate, in 12th, and Pete Harrod as well, another CQR car, 13th. Martin Front 14th, Adam Hadfield 15th, Ross McFarlane in 16th, Christian Rose 17th, and Rob Graham in 18th. Magic Sakovic 19th and Mark Woodhouse in 20th. They'll be a lot happier with that because Magic and I believe Paul Smith actually got in an incident in the first race. Kip Stevens 21st, Will Daniels 22nd, Paul Smith then 23rd. Craig Williams 24th, Ronald Moons 25th, Scott Malcolm 26th with Johnston in 27th. 28th is Pete Newman, 29th Lee Deemer, Jamie Rushworth in 30th, and Jack McIntyre in 31st. These cars obviously a good few laps down after incidents that we saw earlier on. Russell Lather, Jack Cedric, and Max Wright caught out in that incident going onto the back straight. We didn't quite see how that came about, but real shame. It just seemed like people weren't slowing down for incidents, which we do see a bit too often, I'd say. Tristan Bordis is 35th with Adam McNally 36th, those two 10 laps down. Jamie Fluke 12 laps down, Dan Brown 13 laps down, and Michael Hall and Brian Holmes bring up the rear of the field. So for the second and final time this evening, I will hand you over to our resident Italian, Marco Barbanera, who I'm sure is very excited once again to give you the reverse grid wheel for race 3.
Yes, if I open my microphone, maybe it's better. So, reverse wheel is on your screen, so let's roll it. And it's going to be 20, and so I think we are going to have Mark Woodhouse on pole position with Maciek Sakovic starting right beside him.
That's a really, really good result for the Team Mad Boys then. They're going to be over the moon with that, especially with Mark Woodhouse being in contention for the AM Showdown. They'll have Rob Graham, Christian Rose, and Ross McFarlane for company. You've got to think Ross might be one of the favourites for that as well. He's been very quick recently in the Northern Lights Racing team. I say recently, he's always been quick, to be fair to him. So for that one, Marco and I will join you in 10 to 15 minutes time on Apex Racing TV for the final round of the night from the BSRTC Pro Series. Don't go away.
Team racing allows multiple iRacing members to team up and race together just like in real-world endurance series. Teammates can share driving duties, spot for one another, or be a crew chief. Team racing is free both to join a team and to create one. Each teammate races on his or her own computer from wherever they want to. Your teammates can be anywhere in the world, and changing drivers mid-race is as easy as a click of a button. iRacing features team endurance events ranging from just a couple of hours to 24 hours in length. So, if you fancy taking part in an iRacing endurance race in the future, you can learn more about team racing on the teams page on the member website. Before you can get on track, you'll need to calibrate your wheel and pedal set. You'll need to do this in iRacing even if you have already done this using your own controller software. Prior to entering the sim, make sure you've downloaded and installed the latest drivers from the manufacturer's website. Once that's done, follow these easy steps to calibrate your controller. We recommend calibrating in a test session, so pick a car and then click test. Don't go into a practice or official session. The last thing you want to do is have you go on track and crash into another car. Once you're in your test session, click on the options button. You will then see input calibration. This is where your calibration takes place. Start by clicking on the steering button. You will then be prompted to turn your wheel fully one direction and then another. Make sure you place your wheel back into its centering position before hitting done. Now, you'll be asked to turn your wheel 90 degrees to the left. Make sure it's at 90 and hold it there while hitting done. For pedals, click on the pedals button. Here you'll be asked to press the throttle all the way down and then release it. You'll do the same for the brake and clutch pedal if you have one. For the gearbox, you'll first be asked to set buttons for sequential shifting. Once complete, a prompt will ask if you have a H pattern shifter. If not, hit no. If yes, click it and you'll begin to map the gears individually. Once you've completed these steps, you are calibrated and ready to go racing.
Manager. And now I'm official McLaren F1 simulator test driver.
So there's 1.4 behind.
This opportunity is huge.
6-1.
That's faster than the factory McLaren driver, and he's done 6 laps.
Let's go race.
The most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Sits to the front bumper, and he hits him again now. Rayon Fowler into the outside wall.
Gonna pass nearly 3.
Welcome back to Apex Racing TV. Welcome back to the BSRTC Pro Series, and of course, welcome back to Watkins Glen in the Classic layout. You're here for the third and final race of the evening. Mark Woodhouse and Magic Sakovic for Team Mad are on the front row of the grid. Rob Graham is third with Christian Rose in fourth. Ross McFarlane is fifth with Adam Hadfield joining him on the third row of the grid. Martin Front and Pete Harrod are on the fourth row with Stuart McFadden and Dave Baker, making it 3 CQR cars in a row with Northern Lights cars either side. Sven Glatzel and Colin Cunniff, Chris Woods 13th, Alex Simpson 14th, Jake Blackhall 15th, Michael Blake 16th with Wojciech Svidovic in 17th and Josh Thompson 18th, Nickel Foggy 19th, and race 2 winner Stephen Baxter is in 20th place. As we look through the rest of the grid then, we've had 2 fantastic races so far tonight, not too messy and really close racing as the lights come on for the final time tonight. It's Mark Woodhouse on the pole. How's he going to do? Lights are out and they're away. A lot of wheel spin for his teammate Magic Sakovic. It was a good start by Rob Graham, who's going to grab second into turn 1. Jake Blackhall's looking really racy in the middle, to be fair. Down the inside is Ross McFarlane. But it's Mark Woodhouse leading away then. Doesn't seem to be much incident in the background. Oh no, I say that. There's 2 of the Ultimate Knock Hill cars around, and I think that was Jack McIntyre going in the wall. He was in the wall in race 2, and it looks like it's happened again. He has gone. It's Scott Malcolm involved there as well. I think it may have been Max Wright. Craig Williams was involved in an incident as well. But flying down the straight now, then it's Mark Woodhouse leading Rob Graham, Magic Sakovic, Ross McFarlane and Christian Rose. Rob Graham on the outside of the carousel. Oh, he's lost the back end. Is he going to hold it? Yes, he is. In this car, you just plant your right foot and hope for the best when the throttle gets control of the front wheels. But it's back to being 2 Team Mad cars in the lead. Ross McFarlane up to 4th place there with Christian Rose in 5th. It's 3 AM cars. Oh no, there's contact and Rob Graham's off. Magic Sakovic as well is dropping places. Oh, there's more contact there. There was another car in the wall and it's going to block the track. On the inside, oh, there's a couple of them as well. Just seeing them go down the order. It's Jake Blackhall, Adam Hadfield, Michael Blake, I think, was involved. I think Michael's just lost 1 or 2 places in that. Real shame there. It's been so good all evening and so clean, and it's just all kicked off in the last 2 corners. Let's have a quick look then. Oh, I think it's the Simortal car that gets turned, and they just can't slow down quick enough. Another Simortal car goes through the middle there as well. I think it was Hadfield that got turned quite early on. He's lost a lot of positions. Oh, there's another car off on the inside there as well. I hope that wasn't the Simortal car. It certainly looked like it. But out in front then, Mark Woodhouse is going to be laughing all the way to the bank at the moment. He needs this for his AM championship. And this is going very well for him so far. Around the carousel, looked a little bit wide. McFarlane in 2nd and Rose in 3rd. Martin Front's up to 4th place with Sakovic in 5th. Sakovic not losing too much ground then after that incident in the first lap, but the field is really spread out actually. I think this is the most spread out we've seen the top few cars over the course of the whole evening. And further down, just behind them, brilliant scraps. Svidovic and Simpson still right together as well with Pete Harrod and Dave Baker involved. Those 2 Apex cars have been inseparable this evening, especially in race 1. They're even making contact in race 1. Martin Front then attacking Sakovic. Rose has done the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 11.9. So far, one of the only people to go under a 1 minute under 1 minute 12, sorry. That's Stephen Baxter has also done that. Looking down the time screen, no one else is into the 1 minute 11s. 4th place then for Martin Front. really close to that wall up through the S's, and it is nice and spread out. Ross McFarlane seems to have taken on the number 32 in this race. I think he was number 15 earlier. Not quite sure how he's managed that. But he's going to want to chase down Woodhouse and try and get a win. He's got Christian Rose right behind him. He's not going to be letting him get away. Mark Woodhouse is going to be thinking about the long game in this race. He's going to want championship points, so he might not fight too much for that win. Because the next AM is his teammate, Sakovic, and then after that it's another teammate of his, which is Wood, and then it's another teammate of Paul Smith. So in terms of the AM drivers at the moment, it's 4 Team Mad cars at the front. I'll probably get a slap on the wrist for getting that wrong. I really apologise, boys. Woodhouse then, under pressure from McFarlane, puts it down the inside and turn 1. Stephen Baxter with fastest lap of the race, 1:11.7, and a lot more of them going into the 1:11 this time round. But McFarlane gets the job done as they go up the S's. Then Woodhouse is going to want to slot in behind. Christian Rose might even have him down the straight though, because his complete run has been compromised. Struggling to get my words out a little bit this evening. Oh no, massive accident behind. That's not what we want. There's a car flying around. It's one of the CQR cars. It doesn't seem like anyone was really slowing down for that. There's a couple of them slamming on, getting out of the way. Oh, there's more contact between one of the Automat cars. And oh, someone's skyward. Someone's completely skyward. That was Paul Smith involved. That's the number 25 of Max Wright. Maciej Sakovic as well. There's Paul Smith coming to a halt right in front of the camera. Real shame for Paul. I'm sure that'll be watched back on his stream. That's the problem with these long straights. People don't slow down for incidents, and well, that's why the iRacing physics glitch out and cars end up really, really high up in the sky. But Christian Rose is up to second ahead of Woodhouse. Front is fourth, and he's going to try and get onto the podium a little bit later on the brakes. Woodhouse is going to play it safe. He's just doing everything he needs to do at the moment, is Woodhouse. And into third place goes Martin Front. Great drive by the Northern Lights Racing driver. Alex Simpson then, 5th place for Apex. Subconsciously rooting him on, of course. Sven Glatzel's behind him in 6th with Pete Harrod. And I think Davidovic was involved in that big accident as well, actually, because he's down in 33rd. He's showing us, well, not there, basically. Real shame for Wojciech. Stephen Baxter was in that as well, race 2 winner. Big names getting taken out in incidents this evening, but the battle's well and truly on for the lead then. Christian Rose has not let McFarlane get away. Seems like a little bit of smoke lingering there, actually, down that straight. Not sure whether there's been another incident off camera. Someone that's definitely on camera at the moment is Christian Rose. Give us a smile. You can just see the different lines there. Christian was a bit earlier on the brakes, and gradually he'll start closing into the back of McFarlane, but Ross got a really nice line through that last corner, actually. Just see the cars running wider and wider in the background as everyone pushes for position. Simpson up behind Mark Woodhouse now then. The number 24 against the number 2. As we go on board with Alex then, up through the S's. You just got to try and put as little steering input as you can in on this car, just so you don't wash off any of the speed. It's so important on this section of the track. Look at the speed of it. And they're still changing up a gear as well. That's just how long the ratios will be on this this setup for this track. Onto the brakes, over the crest. It's really scary actually going over that crest on the brakes, because you think that the car's slowing down, and then yeah, it's just it obviously dips downhill, and the brakes don't feel like they're working as much. As Rose is going for the lead against McFarlane. Nothing doing there into the second to last. Front's going to get involved in this as well. He's going to be eyeing up an opportunity for Northern Lights, of course. McFarlane and Front from the same stable for Northern Lights Racing. One of them is Northern Lights Racing Scuderia Haggis, and the other is Northern Lights Racing GC Omega. Their team manager, Craig Evans, was actually at GC Omega headquarters the other day, showing some fantastic pictures of all the setups and things they've got there. They've certainly got a lot going on. And these guys are hoping to do him proud tonight. They do have a sale on as well, actually, GT Omega at the moment. I think it's on their backpacks that they've got. I think it's 35% off. I might have caught it on Facebook before. I really do apologise if that's incorrect info. I'll give you my address so you can write to me if you want to. As really, front is looking really sort of aggressive down the straight there. Trying to go around the outside of Rose. Rose just puts the car where he needs to. He's on the outside of the carousel. Nothing doing once again. Front is just having a bit of fun, I think. Just trying to just get every opportunity out of the way that he can. But McFarlane at the moment just putting the car exactly where is necessary. Controlling the race at the front. While these guys dice behind, and Alex Simpson's going to get involved in this as well. Very clean Kia Optima that he's got at the moment. Same with Martin Front, really. They've stayed out of trouble. Alex is going to want at least a podium. We're not even halfway through the race yet. Oh, McFarlane is the widest of all of them there. You've got Woodhouse and then Glatzel behind these guys. Mark Woodhouse hasn't dropped back too much. Oh, I think, according to the chat, I'm not sure whether we're referring to Dave Baker being the cause of the incident, but someone crashed on their own and then it was just others piled in, and that's the nature of the S's. It's just a wall either side, there's no grass or runoff, and down the inside is McFarlane, keeping it on the defensive against Christian Rose. Martin Front is on the inside of Rose now. Pulling out of the slipstream. Not enough of a run, I don't think, but he's got to be later on the brakes to get this done. They seem to brake pretty much identically. McFarlane really hanging it out. Front is going down the inside into the final corner. Rose turns in, no contact. All four of them still together. Simpson watching this and trying to find his opportunities. Darts out to the left. Really pushed in now. There's half of the race left to go yet, boys. Don't worry too much. And all that time, Glatzel and Woodhouse are closing in on this. It's almost as if Marco read my mind there. You can see these guys just getting away. So you've got to think that if these guys just try and help each other a bit, not battle too much, just use the slipstream to their advantage, and they may still pull away even further from the battle behind, which is Chris Wood, Pete Harrod, Ellis Stevens and Sedgwick. And Rose goes to the front, but McFarlane's still not letting him get away with it. He's not taking it lying down. Simpson and Rose washing out a little bit wide there. So close to contact all the time. Look at the run that Rose has got. Brilliantly done. He's going to have it on the inside for the second to last corner. That was nicely played. Oh no, he's made contact with McFarlane. He must have thought there was no overlap. And that's turned Rose around. McFarlane will be kicking himself for that, but to the front goes Martin Front. As we go on to lap 10 then. 9 minutes of the race to go. He's inherited the lead, and I'm sure he'll be happy about that. Real shame though to see the contact happening that way. That's how we've seen it a lot tonight, to be fair. Just cars running wide over the front of other people. Pretty much a racing incident in most cases, unless someone's turned in and not left any space at all. But it's easy to do around here. So many left and right sections, and vice versa, of course. Simpson really on a charge now. Pulls out to the left of the track. It's a nice wide straight for these guys, so you get plenty of leeway. Onto the brakes. Oh, tiny bit of contact. Simpson sideways, puts his foot in, saves it, and he's back down to 4th place. And Sven Glatzel's in this now as well. He's onto the podium. Mark Woodhouse is there in 5th. Martin Front still has the lead. Ross McFarlane 2nd. Oh, that's really wide there for Martin Front. He's completely off onto the grass. Naturally a defensive line into the final corner, but he's going to slow everyone up a bit. Glatzel's on the inside. Simpson's going to try and go with him. It's 2 by 2. Now they're in a diamond formation. It's 3 wide into turn 1. Glatzel on the inside. McFarlane on the outside. Front in the middle just goes backwards. And McFarlane makes it stick round the outside. Simpson on the outside of Front now. Slight overlap with Glatzel. Woodhouse is going to be watching this and just hoping for an accident at the carousel. Front sideways up the S's. Chucks it in too hard. Loses all of his momentum. And McFarlane is back in the lead. Great stuff by Sven Glatzel at the moment as well. He sneaked his way through this. Of course, another one from the Northern Lights Racing stable. They've got 3 cars in this battle. They're going to be hoping that all 3 make it to the end without any major contact. Simpson gets a great run out of there, look at that. He's got nowhere to go though. You'd hope to see brake lights, but I think he's just pushing McFarlane down that straight. Glatzel down the inside, Simpson tries to go with him. Maybe a tiny bit of contact there. They get on the brakes then into the final corner. Simpson just carrying so much more speed than them through there. And they're going to go 3 wide once again down the straight. Oh, Simpson cutting back to the left, nearly makes contact with McFarlane, somehow doesn't, then he goes back to the inside once again. Nothing doing for him there, Glatzel still leading it. This is awesome racing, we've seen some fantastic battles all night. And this is another amazing one to end the evening. Glatzel just holding on. But McFarlane's going to obviously have the run again, 6 minutes to go in the race. The other guys in the background just can't get near enough at this. As it stands, Cedric and Wood having a real ding-dong over there. Glatzel on the inside then, McFarlane on the outside. Simpson sort of in the middle, really. Glatzel's going to be, sorry, that's Martin front. He's going to be trying to find a way around him, use the slipstream to his advantage. McFarlane's all on his own on the left-hand side. Simpson, once again, nowhere to go, though. Round the outside of McFarlane. He's going to be on the inside now for the final corner. Beautifully done. Maybe a slight rub. Oh, no, they've made contact. Oh, they did really well. That was great sort of cooperative driving there to not end up in the wall. McFarlane got out of it. Simpson kept it under control. That was very respectful stuff. We could have seen a repeat of what McIntyre and McNally have done tonight and end up in the barriers, but Sven Glatzel leads the race from teammate Martin front. Simpson third, McFarlane fourth, and Woodhouse highest placed AM driver. His teammate Chris Wood is the next one up in that battle. He's down in 8th, and then Mark Johnston is 11th. Laidler is 4th in the AM battle there, you can see on the left, 12th place overall. He's going to want to get as many points as possible after crashing out in the second race of the evening. Only 24 cars still running at the moment out of the 40 that started, so that incident did take a massive amount of contenders out. Simpson a little bit wider than front there, but he's going to try and get a slingshot on the exit. Seems to have been working for him so far this evening. Only a couple of laps remain then in this one. You can see more and more lock being applied as the tyres gradually heat up over the course of the race and start to get warm. The fronts in this car do tend to die over the course of a 20-minute race. You feel the grip gradually getting away from you. You just want to get on the throttle as soon as you can and just push, push, push through the corners, but it's just not as simple as that in this car. You have to really look after it, be very patient with it, especially on the brakes. But look at that run by Alex. He's going to look down the inside and the S's can't do it, lifts slightly. He's just going to use the slipstream to his advantage down the straight. Oh, the car gets a bit of a slide on. You can just see the momentum that's lost through that. That's why you've got to be so careful with the lock. And you've got to be thinking, I was just about to say, McFarlane is going to be right behind. That's a very ugly looking front end of that car. It's a fair bit of contact, of course. Simpson covers the inside. McFarlane goes back to the outside. Nearly contact with front. Simpson's got his nose down the inside, though. Is there enough of an overlap? Is there enough room? So close to the very famous quarter panel that the Kia is very prone to. Somehow still not making contact. It's Glatzel in the lead, then you can tell that by the German flag on the roof, and of course the wing mirrors. Martin front second, Simpson third. Simpson all over the back of front now. Front's going to be playing that very famous rear gunner position for his teammate now, but I don't think that's by choice. Woodhouse still in there as well, watching, waiting. In the background, everyone really pushing on the exit. You can see them just going wider and wider over that curb. Simpson has a little look into turn one. Front is all over the back of Glatzel, ironically. Up the S's once again. 2.5 minutes to go. In the final race of the evening in the BSRTC Pro Series. Don't forget, of course, if you are enjoying the stream and enjoying the content, give us a quick like the video, and of course subscribe. And don't forget to click that little bell button as well to be notified of future videos. Plenty of streams going on Apex. We usually do these on a Thursday night in the BSRTC Pro Series. On Tuesdays we do the MX5s. also from BSR. And on Saturday, we have the Euro V8's Australian Supercar Series. Always a really nicely polished series with very close racing and not too big a grid either, as Glatzel still defending from Simpson. Simpson's just giving it everything. He's got past McFarlane and front having a bit of a bad exit out of the carousel, then costing him positions. As we go on to what will be the penultimate lap then, side by side down the straight, crossing the line once more. Simpson on the brakes a little bit early. I think he's trying to get the run, but Glatzel's covered it off brilliantly. Bit of a touch. Oh, McFarlane very close to turning Alex there. They've done so well of getting out of the contact all night, these guys. It's been really respectful. This is exactly what we want to see. They're all rushing, just sort of sliding wide through the S's. As you follow in a car, it's hard to know where the apex of the next corner is, so when you turn when they do, there's gradually this domino effect of people sliding further and further wide. And behind Woodhouse now is Jamie Fluke, Sedgwick and Foggy. They're all trying to get in on this as well. Alex Simpson round the outside. Sven Glatzel still holding position. McFarlane trying to push him down the straight. Oh, McFarlane came over. I thought there was no overlap. Well, I thought there was an overlap there, but Simpson's in the lead. He's taken it before they've even got into the second to last corner. Glatzel down the inside. Nearly contact again. I'm on the edge of my seat here. My heart rate's increasing by the lap. One more to go. Martin Front catches the grass behind them. Puts a wheel on, and he seemed to oversteer it into the corner. Woodhouse is going to have a chance now. But here we go. Final lap of the race then. Alex Simpson leads for Apex Racing. Glatzel is second for Northern Lights. McFarlane for Northern Lights. Front for Northern Lights. And then Mark Woodhouse, leader of the AM Championship at the moment. Sorry, leader of the AM race so far. The Team Mad under pressure from Jamie Fluke. Fluke goes through. Cedric's involved as well. Can these guys gain some more positions over this last lap? Simpson has Glatzel right behind him. As we look back now, we'll see the slipstream come into effect. He's going to gain time down the straight naturally, but is he going to get it done to the carousel? He tries to go to the inside. You see the insides of the car. Doesn't work for him. Simpson putting it where he needs to. 3 more corners to go. Glatzel's running wide. McFarlane's going to get the place. And I think that's going to pretty much put an end to Glatzel's fight for this race win. Alex is going to cover everything he can here. He's just thinking, where can I put the car? Where can I put the car? Put it on the inside. That's going to become the inside, the outside, and then the inside for the final corner is going to go to McFarlane, but he's run wide. He has to get in the brakes. Down the inside, one final time. McFarlane goes for it. Simpson carries the momentum. There's contact. Slight slide, but it looks like Simpson's going to hold it. Alex Simpson takes the win in the third race of the evening from Sven Glatzel, Ross McFarlane, Jamie Fluke, Martin Front, Jack Cedric, Nickel Foggy, Mark Woodhouse 8th, Chris Wood 9th, Mark Johnston rounds out your top 10. Over the line, Rushworth, and that's going to be Ellis Stevens in the wall. Amazing last few laps there. Really, really good racing. Nice and respectful. As we see Max Wright struggling there. There's Stuart McFadden, Lee Deemer coming across the line. Ronald Moons using all the tarmac out of the carousel. I've got to catch my breath. That was that was absolutely awesome to watch. And I hope that everyone at home enjoyed that as well. Alex Simpson takes the win as we see Nickel Foggy taking the bus stop there on the right hand side. Nice to see him appreciating that fantastic corner. The second win of the evening then for Apex Racing. The number 2 car, of course, taking the checkered flag there. Alex just drove a nice, clean, controlled race. Just like Stephen Baxter did in race 2. Made the maneuvers, when absolutely necessary. Didn't cause any trouble. Slight bits of contact with McFarlane though, but you saw some really respectful racing between the two to make sure that neither of them ended up in the wall. And that's a big haul of championship points for Alex tonight. Second place, of course, in race 1. I'm sure that he's going to be very happy with that. There's the final results then. Alex Simpson takes the win from Sven Glatzel and Ross McFarlane. Jamie Fluke in 4th, Martin Front in 5th. The Jack Cedric making his way up to 6th place. He gained 27 positions. But to be fair, Jamie Fluke, 33 places gained to finish 4th. What a drive that is. Nickel Foggy finishes 7th. Mark Woodhouse, a very important 8th place. He wins the AM race in that one. Chris Wood is 9th with Mark Johnston in 10th. Russell Laidler 11th. He's the 4th rated AM driver on there. Jamie Rushworth is 12th with Kip Stevens. We saw those two coming to blows across the line. Michael Hall 14th, Josh Thompson 15th, and Pete Harrod in 16th. Tristan Bodis finished 17th after not finishing race 2. He'll be happy with that one. Brian Holmes is 18th overall. Pete Newman's 19th with Will Daniels in 20th. Lee Deemer 21st, Ronald Moons 22nd. Stuart McFadden is 23rd, and he's the only, the final car on the lead lap. And after that, this is literally how many people we lost. Adam McNally 5 laps down, Max Wright 8 laps down, 9 laps down for Christian Rose, and then all these cars 13 laps down, I believe, involved in the same incident. Maciej Sakovic, Wojciech Savidovic, Adam Hadfield, David Baker, Paul Smith, Stephen Baxter, and Colin Cunniff. Then you've got Daniel Brown, Robert Graham the lap before that, and the lap before that was Michael Blake, 15 laps down. And the last couple of cars that did not finish the race, Jake Blackhall, Craig Williams, Scott Malcolm, and Jack McIntyre. An absolutely action-packed final race of the day. Really good racing all night. It's been an absolute joy to watch. And I believe we have a couple of drivers waiting for an interview now then. Always a pleasure to speak to and always a pleasure to have in the booth. We have Mr. Dave Baker with us. Dave, welcome. How are you feeling?
Not too great. I've got a lot of apologies for race 3. I know Wodge, Mess and Paul got caught up in my incident as I hit the wall, so massive apologies to them because I know how much it can influence a championship, but it meant I got to watch an absolutely epic race 3. That was such good racing between Sven, Ross and Alex and everybody else at the front. It was a pleasure to watch that.
Yeah, we certainly really enjoyed that one as well. It was just nice to see such respectful racing go on for so long, because quite often we see it where there are sort of tight battles, maybe a slight bit of contact here and there, but it usually ends in tears. But tonight, obviously, we didn't get that in really any of the races. It's been fantastic tonight. I mean, did it feel that way on track? Was that the whole sort of consensus that you got from racing out there in the field?
I think so. There are always some issues when it is a draft track, because the racing is so close. I mean, race 1, I think I was glued to Sven's bumper, and probably glued to it in race 2 as well. He was so difficult to pass. The NLR cars were on form. The Apex cars were all working well together. It was, apart from the incidents, that everything, it was a really great meeting to watch some of the racecraft of the people here, because I think it doesn't get enough praise. There are so many good drivers here that can race 3 wide for an entire lap, and you don't get that anywhere else. So I'm sorry for the people who got caught up in incidents, but watching some of that back, you just don't find racing like that when it's that good anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree. It's been some of the best racing I've seen on iRacing tonight, and including obviously in BSR as well. To be fair, I mean, such a short track though, you'd expect that it would be quite sort of chaotic. I mean, I know going into tonight, I was thinking that we were going to see quite a lot of incidents, but it was relatively well behaved. I mean, would you sort of prefer a different layout of this track, or are you a fan of this one?
I like the racing that this one gives, but when there is an incident, it's a big one, and you get innocent bystanders caught up in stuff, and that's never fun for them. Having the chicane in there might have presented a couple of extra challenges. The boot layout's fantastic, but as a track, it's really great fun to race. It's very high speed chess. When do you make your move? I mean, I thought Sven would get that one back. To be honest, I thought Alex had got him a lap too soon, but hey, you never know how it's going to work out. So.
You certainly don't. Well, next week then, obviously another showdown round coming up. I'll be utterly honest. I've not a clue where we're going to. So
I think it's into Lagos.
Ah, yes, because the MX-5 is going there as well to reflect the same thing. I should have thought about that. How do you feel going towards that one then? You confident in Interlagos?
I had a great race there. I think it was last season with Wojciech. Sometimes watch that one back because it was a really great battle between us two. I mean, I'm going to be starting from the pits, so I'm probably not going to see as much action next week. But again, it can provide really great racing, particularly through the infield section, because these cars can go side by side. So many of the other cars we have on the service can't quite do it like these cars can. So it'll be interesting to see what happens at it. I mean, there's still a couple of rounds to go, but NLR and Apex definitely stole the show tonight from the CQR team. So hats off to them, to both of them.
Smashing. Well, before we let you go, Dave, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
To everybody in the team, my apologies for tonight. But yeah, the support we've sort of given each other throughout the year has, really worked well. So hopefully we can continue these last few rounds, carry on the fight, and we'll see where we end up.
Great stuff, mate. Well, pleasure to speak to you as always. We'll hopefully speak to you in Lagos then if you're around.
Yeah, hopefully. Right, get on and interview Alex. I'm sure he wants to talk about his win.
Nice one, Dave. Speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon.
Dave Baker there, always the gentleman, always a pleasure to have in the box with us. And we have race 3 winner, our very own Alex Simpson. Alex, I'm assuming you're on top of the world right now after that one.
Yeah, pretty stoked after that. That was just well, all night the racing's just been epic. You never really know what to expect from Watkins. Sometimes you can. I mean, there were some big crashes, and like I got through them by skin of my teeth a couple of times. But yeah, just every bit of the track that I was on, there was just epic battles going on with yeah, a lot of door-to-door action, which can only be classed as, you know, hard, good racing. So yeah, you can hear it. I got like proper grin on my face. I'm a bit shaky because I was proper pumped at that on that last race. I think Nicole messaged me just a minute ago saying how much that first race was like stressful, being surrounded by us lot. And of course, I've just had the absolute opposite there. There was NLR everywhere, and I was just like, "Come on, want to get through here," and just getting blocked and everything. So, but yeah, no, it was brilliant. So to come out on top of that one with some awesome moves, if I do say so myself, which is just great. Yeah.
Well, we were saying before, just literally just said to Dave as well that like you said, you never know what you're going to expect from a track like this, especially when you're on the shorter layouts. I mean, I was expecting it to be a mess, if I'm honest, but yeah, it did prove to be fantastic. I mean, it was great to watch. We were barely away from any of the lead battles all night because there was never never less than say like 5 cars in the fight. So, like you say, being surrounded by them all at once is very exciting. We've got Interlagos next week. Is it a track you're particularly fond of?
I do like Interlagos. I like it in a Formula One car. I don't know what it's going to be like in a Kia. So
worlds apart.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting. That's for sure. I mean, yeah, I think it's just going to Interlagos just again makes for really good racing. You know, the infield section is great for like, you know, side to side action. I think we're going to have some epic battles in there, and then of course you've got 2 long straights for drafting as well. So it's like, what do you do with the setup and things like that, and where'd you go with the wing? And yeah, I think it's going to be good. And of course, I think the last couple of showdowns, they've always had an Interlagos there, and we've had like an almighty wreck. Like normally Watkins gets massive ones, but I remember like where there's some sort of promotional thing that literally has the Interlagos wreck on it. So yeah, I'm hoping, I'm praying that there isn't another one, and if there is, I'm not in it.
Yeah, look, I think it's out of turn 2.
Yeah.
Interlagos, the wall, as you go down the straight, the wall closes in, and if anyone gets turned across it, they just bounce off into the middle of the track. Everyone's at full throttle. We saw it a couple of times in the club series as well, actually, when they visited there. And yeah, it can get messy, but hopefully the results come in for you like they did tonight. Before we let you go, though, anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Right, you guys for covering, Marco as well. Yeah, really appreciate that right at the last minute as well. Just the teammates, really. Just again, we all worked well together. Good communication today on track. Bit gutted for a couple of them just getting collected in sort of incidents. Seems like it's not our year. We definitely had the pace in that first race. Really showed it. But yeah, just can't seem to catch a break at the minute. But yeah, and just all the sponsors really. BSR for running the leagues, getting to the business end now. It's almost over. Can't be easy running something that lasts this long. So yeah, I think that's kind of everything. And all the guys that I raced against tonight, that was awesome.
Smashing stuff. Well, we'll surely see you on track at Interlagos, and hope for more success there, mate.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. And for the final interview of the evening, then we bring in quite a commentary booth regular. We've got Mr. Russell Laidler. Rusty, how are you doing?
How's it going, boys?
Very, very good. It was a lot of exciting racing tonight. A lot of really good battles, barely with less than 5 cars in at a time. Did you find that overall it was clean racing tonight, or were you caught up in a few bits of argy-bargy?
No, I actually thought it was quite clean, if I'm honest. There was a few people wandering around in the breaks and getting a bit wobbly here and there, but to be fair, it kind of happens on a track like this because you got people running traditionally as low a wing as possible. So people are going to get a little bit wobbly, but these things happen. I'm one of those people, I like to run a lot of wing. So I had to do all my work in the breaks and through the bends, but for some reason it worked.
Yeah, it seemed that there was a lot of wobbling around tonight. I would expect that it was quite sort of low downforce down the straights, but I mean, on a shorter layout like this, I mean, to be fair, I've said the same thing to Alex and Dave in interviews tonight, that a lot of people would expect it to be quite a crash fest. I mean, it wasn't really that bad, but on a track like Watkins, would you expect to run the longer layout, or do you prefer the shorter ones?
I actually prefer shorter tracks. I don't know why, I just do. We did the longer one here at the start of the season, and to be fair, just because of the natural layout of Watkins Glen, it's still a draft track, so everyone's still tightly packed together. And when you do, and it is like a street circuit because you've got barriers, like you've got what you've got a car width of grass and barrier on either side of the track.
Yeah.
So if an accident happens in certain places, it's bound to be a big one. It can't really be helped. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I like racing at tracks like this.
Mm.
It's like a game of chess. You've got to think so many corners ahead. You've got to think so many laps ahead, so many moves ahead. If you've got to make a move on someone, you've got to realize that, right, I'm breaking out with a toe here.
Yeah.
So I could have someone now going around the outside of me at one corner when you're the inside of the other. It's one of those layouts that it's quality racing. I always loved racing here. It's a battle of survival as well, I suppose.
Yeah, it certainly is.
I died in the second one, but again, to come out with two pretty decent finishes, especially that last one from like 33rd to 11th.
Yeah.
And two of my main championship rivals got DNFs as well. I saw Hadfield didn't finish. McNally's had 2 DNFs tonight.
Mm.
So while I've had 2, it kind of brings everyone sort of back down towards me, if that makes any sense. So, Chris, if you're watching back and listen, could you crash twice at Interlagos, please? And let's just spice the championship up a little bit, eh?
Love it. Well, I was saying before as well about like sort of shorter tracks. Just going back to that subject, I think the appeal of it is you get a lot more laps out of it. So when you get an opportunity into one corner, if you start to realize that you can make a move, stick there, you get more. So over the course of the race, obviously you can battle a bit harder. I think when it's like that. But yeah, it's been an absolute joy to watch tonight, mate, and hopefully the results come good for you next time. Right into Lagos, is it something you're feeling confident about?
It's my all-time favorite track. Absolutely love Interlagos. I am really looking forward to that. But again, it's another track that historically, when you look back, there's been some really big ones there.
Alex was just saying that as well.
Yeah, I actually think Interlagos has the record for the biggest crash. I'm pretty sure it's at Interlagos.
I think the clubs. Well, I was saying to Alex, the club series had a massive accident there a couple of seasons back as well, and then it was pretty much mirrored back the Pro Series when they visited not long after. So I think you're right on that one. It must have been one of these larger grids that caused it.
Yeah,
but,
it just happens. I think turn 3 is normally where it happens because you've got all that runoff on the outside, and everyone kind of uses that. And then when you look at the wall, it goes like back to like how Watkins is. You got barrier like 3 feet either side of the track. So you've got all that space getting funneled into like a tiny area, and all it takes is for one person to be on the very outside, and they just, rushing back on. But if it happens, it happens. You've just got to you just got to roll with the punches, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we hope the results come good. Like I say, anyone you want to give a shout out to before you go, mate?
No.
Fair enough. Wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
No, just the usuals. Yourself. I know. So have you been doing tonight on your?
Verbally, yes. Marco's been doing the cameras for us.
I gathered Marco will be doing the cameras. He always does a good job, but I hope you're getting paid for doing 2 man's job.
Oh, it's all good, mate. I just love doing it. Absolutely love doing it, and I always thank Alex for the opportunity. So yeah, it's great. It's great to watch.
Yeah, it's good to see you here. It's good to see you here.
Thanks very much, mate. Well, hopefully we will speak to you at Interlagos then.
Maybe. I might sit one out and give everyone else a chance. But if no one else turns up, of course I'm going to come and have a waffle.
Oh, you've got to see if Chris turns up first, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah, right, Chris, you're getting an interview next week. That's it. It's been settled.
I'll make sure. I'll speak to him.
Just run into their Discord.
Enjoy the rest of your night, Rusty. Good to speak to you.
You too, buddy. Take it easy.
Cheers. Russell Laidler there. Always the life of the party. Always feisty on track. And yeah, to be fair, that's going to round up the evening. It's been an absolutely awesome night of racing. I've really enjoyed watching this, really enjoyed calling the shots. And I think I'm going to have to give my throat a rest for the next few days. Marco has been an absolute star on the cameras tonight. So my massive thanks to him. And thank you to everyone for watching as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Apex Racing TV on YouTube and hit that little bell icon if you want to get the notifications for future videos. I've been Chaz Draycott. Really enjoyed this once again. Thank you very much for joining me. And we will see you next time out at Interlagos on Apex Racing TV. Good night.